Ellery here, and this is not the gambeson video. That is coming, and it will not be showing you how to make a gambeson in it, but it's going to have a lot of great information, so hopefully people will find that useful. It's still going to be a few days. I'm pulling some things together with it. This video is a field test for my new setup. That's lighting, that's camera settings, that's this right here. I have a Griffin boom arm, I have a Blue Yeti microphone, a small cheap pop filter, and a Blue Radius 2 shock mount. I'm very pleased about all of this, but I figured since I'm field testing this setup today that I'll take a little bit to talk about how I set it up and why I made the choices that I did with this setup. So firstly, the things that I bought brand new were the clamp lights, the bulbs that go with them, and the boom arm. These were all pretty cheap. The lights were $8 for the pair on eBay. The boom arm was $22. I already had the pop filter, which was just some cheap little thing I got online. I don't even know what brand it is. Now, as for the Blue Yeti, I got that used for $85, which is pretty good considering their new price and that their resale value with the box, which I did get it in its original box and packaging and all that, is significantly higher than that most of the time. So this was a pretty good deal, as was the Blue Radius 2 shock mount, which I got for about $35. Now, a lot of people I've seen recommend a newer boom arm, and that's about $13 to $15 depending on where you get it. But I wanted something that was just slightly better, yet not up in that $100+ price range. And for a few dollars more, I feel the Griffin is much better, with some modifications made to it. Firstly, it comes with a cord and these plugs for some other kind of microphone, which I had to pull out of there, and that cord is not really salvageable. Once I got the plugs off the end, I went to pull it through and I ended up skinning some of the wire. And to get the plugs off in the first place, you have to break some soldering connections. But the wire wasn't going to be useful for me anyway, nor would be the shock mount that it came with, because as you can see, it's really not going to fit Blue Yeti. And I had already ordered the Radius 2 before I ordered the boom arm. Now on the sides of the Blue Yeti, I put two little pieces of Gorilla Tape, and I made sure to make these little bitty tabs here so that if I want to pull them off, I can pull them off easily. On the boom arm itself, I did something similar. I went once around the wire with the tape, and then I went once around the strut, and I have a little tab on the end here so that I can also take that off and adjust it easily. I gave myself plenty of slack right here and just enough slack right here so that when I raise it, it doesn't end up tensioning the wire. Now, one potential problem with a boom arm that has external springs is that you'll get these sounds coming through it. This is handling noise. Meaning anything you do where you move something and it makes a noise and it travels up and into the microphone, or the microphone picks that up. Since the springs don't actually touch the frame, to reduce handling noise, I put some little strips of Gorilla Tape in the groove where the springs mount on these nuts. I also put a small tab up top to keep the wire from sliding over and getting pinched when the boom arm extends and retracts. I did some similar tabs on the contacts points of the springs on the lower part, and down on the bottom I took that out of there because there was a lot of play in it, and I went ahead and I made sort of a gasket to thicken that, making sure to leave a little gap there for where the screw ties into it. Now, the newer boom arm, which is a popular brand to buy, it seems, it has a slightly less weight tolerance, something like a Blue Yeti and a shock mount would cause it to slowly sink on its own, although it could probably take a Blue Yeti by itself. I wanted to be able to accommodate the shock mount, and from what I read in some reviews, this boom arm is more around the 2.4 pounds tolerance range before it starts to have trouble, and both the shock mount and the Blue Yeti weigh around 1.2. So that's just about right, and it's got slightly higher tolerance when you consider that it came with a cable on it and a shock mount that I took off of there. So that's some weight taken off the system so that it can accommodate slightly more weight. But with slight modifications, this is a much better buy for just a few dollars more, I believe. Now, regarding the clamp lights, my lighting setup basically, I've actually found a video that was a tutorial on how to do this, and it's a really good video, so I'm going to link that in the description below. And having this new setup makes my old equipment and some of the spare parts from setting this up redundant. I don't need it, and so I'm kind of putting something together in a while, probably like 2-3 weeks. I might do something like a giveaway, or I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Alright, that's all for now. Have a good one.